All in the Family will be seen tonight so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
The Transformers, the movie.
Autobots make a bad movie.
I've never been able to do the transforming noise. Like, you do it so much better than I do. For years, I've been trying to figure out how to do it, and I just can't. There was a point when we were watching it yesterday where I was like, oh, that's it, and then I've lost it. Yeah, see, that was terrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone out there. I'm sorry.
Well, it took me years. I minored in, I went to the Michael Winslow School of Mouth Magician.
You were the valedictorian.
I was. Yeah. Yes. Highlight on the dick. Thank you, Adam.
All right, so welcome. This is our third entry into our Haterade month.
Yeah.
It's weird because I don't necessarily hate this movie. I just wish it didn't exist. So maybe that's hatred.
Well, I mean, that's pretty strong. I kind of watched the Transformers when it was on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
With like friends in college or whatever. Not college.
Not college. You would have been like 15 when it came out.
Yeah, I probably didn't watch very much.
You would have been like 15, so probably not.
And I think later on I saw the movie. I definitely didn't see it in the theater.
Yeah.
But like the Transformers kind of, I just missed it. It was just a couple of years past my toy time.
Just a little too old for it. Yeah.
You know, that and G.I. Joe, of course, the new G.I. Joe.
The 80s version,
70s.
Oh, you had all those.
But yeah, so watching this movie was like, all I could think of was the poor parents who were like, "Can I take me a Transformers movie, Mom?" And then, okay, we'll go see it. It's that cartoon. And it's just this cacophony of noise. It's just, it's a seizure-inducing nightmare.
It is.
Of colors and sounds.
And the story just is I think that's part of it is why I find it boring, because the story is just relentless.
There's no character development.
There's no breaks. There's no pause. No. There's no, like, they try to throw in a little bit of, like, you know, quips and stuff to be like, oh, this is the light moment to whatever. But they're just randomly killing off characters left and right.
It was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath.
When I first saw this, it was definitely not in the theater. And I'm pretty sure that it was the first time I saw it, it had been broken up into, I think, 4 episodes that they released for syndication. And of course, we heard, my brother and I heard that it was like, oh, they swear in it and they all die. And for the TV version, that's all tamed way down.
Yeah.
But I think I remember like being excited when it came to like Cinemax, like to watch it because they were going to swear.
Yeah. And
it was so exciting when I was like 7 and I was like, oh, the animated guys are swearing.
Yeah. Autobots saying shit.
Yeah. And then
shit.
I watched it. Yeah, pretty much. And then I watched it again in college, which had to have been less than 10 years later, and realized it does not work as a movie.
Did you watch it sober?
Yes.
Well, that's your problem.
I wasn't smoking weed at that time. I mean, I was drinking, but like, I wasn't like, I'm going to get drunk and watch the Transformers, the movie.
Well, that was your first mistake, I guess.
It was so boring. It does not work as a feature. It works as 4 episodes of a TV show.
Okay.
It just doesn't work as a movie.
I don't know if it even works as 4 episodes. It's just, it doesn't have, it's just stupid. You know, it's this big old planet named Unicron.
Unicron.
It's basically unicorn, but we sneakily switched 2 letters, and it's now Unicron.
His name was written down wrong on his birth certificate.
Yes. That's why I'm so mad. This big old eaten planet robot.
Played by Orson Welles, and they actually made him Unicron almost as big as Orson Welles was at the time.
Yeah, this is the joke that we kept making over and over yesterday.
Orson Welles became a very fat man when he was older.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes, he liked his indulgences, let's say. His cigars and his food.
Didn't he shill for Ernest Gallo? The wine? Wasn't there a wine company?
We will make no wine until it's time. God, that
actually sound pretty good. That was a good impression of him.
and Franklin's frozen peas.
What?
When you want the he did
a bunch of stuff.
Of stuff. There was this great Howard Stern. I think it was Howard Stern years and years, 20 something years ago when I used to listen to him. He had the outtakes of all of these Orson Welles.
Yeah.
Product things.
Yeah.
What is this? This is stupid. I'm not saying that is stupid. So it's like he or William Shatner when he's like, sabotage. And he's like, excuse me. It's pronounced sabotage. Well, I pronounce it a sabotage. So I'm going to say a sabotage. And it's just like these guys that used to be big,
right,
throwing
still
around
trying.
their wieners trying to,
The real irony with this is that if you hadn't told me it was Orson Welles, I never would have known.
Well, they had to doctor up his voice so much.
He was talking so slowly that they had to manipulate his voice so much that just to make it viable for the screen.
Yeah, they got John Machida to come in. And
yeah, the exact opposite of that. That's actually pretty accurate as well.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to get into it, but it's just watching it as an adult, and I know I've seen it because movies like this, there's like one scene that'll trigger my memory and be like, okay, I've seen this. I forget which one it was, but we were watching it. I'm like, okay.
I think it was the Sharktacons.
Yes, it was.
The Sharktacons.
Sharktacons and the Piranhacons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the Sharktacons because it was so stupid. It was like all of a sudden we have a Bond villain, a robot Bond villain.
But they were like a weird church. Like it didn't make any sense.
Guilty. Innocent. Guilty.
It doesn't matter.
They said innocent and they still put him into the Sharktacons.
Yeah. But I remember, I think it was Christmas, my birthday, when I got the Sharktacon, like that guy with the spike or the club tail.
Yeah, like a mace
tail. Like I remember getting that guy because he looked so cool with the big teeth. Like as the toy was rad.
They were not as imposing when they turned into people. It was like, why even turn into dudes?
It's the same with the Dinobots. It was
exactly
that was the best. We're like 60 minutes into the movie, and Jim's like, "Well, what do the Dinobots turn into?" It was like, "Well, because most of the movie they're dinosaurs."
Yes.
It was like, no, they just turn into people.
Everybody just turned into people. Even the planet, even Unicron turns into a giant dude.
How much bravado do we have to assume that every alien planet or every alien being changes into something that looks like us?
Well, we're very popular in the universe, Adam.
Apparently Mack trucks are very popular in the universe, too.
Anyway, let's get started.
All right. Take stuff back to 1986.
Yeah.
In April, Honda establishes a research center based on fundamental technologies with a main focus on Asimo, a humanoid robot that would eventually debut 14 years later.
And everybody has one now. Asimo. Oh, wait.
No.
I remember Asimo.
They've actually had like 5 versions of it since then.
Yeah. It looks like a spaceman.
But it's weird. But the newer versions are like they've leaps and bounds in the last 10 years. Like past the first 30 and then the last 10, just huge advancements.
Well, Amazon just introduced a 5'9" robot into their warehouses. Yeah. That's going to go well.
Yeah, we don't need jobs. That's fine.
Well, I tell you, man, the economy's going to come down to how many robots you own. And you're going to send your robots to work, and if you got 5 robots, then you're going to get enough money to live. Right. If you only got 1 to no robots,
well, if you got one robot, the robot's just working to pay off the robot.
Exactly. It's going to be a mess.
May 9th, a short circuit is released about a robot that comes alive.
Number 5 is alive!
Directed by John Badham, it's a surprise hit and gets the sequel treatment in 1988.
Yep.
Which is also Jim's favorite movie of all time.
Short Circuit 2?
Short Circuit 2.
I don't even remember.
That was sarcasm, sorry.
Yeah, another unnecessary sequel.
A horribly unnecessary sequel. You want to talk about Short Circuit? I liked that movie. I was so disappointed that he doesn't say his name until the last line of the movie.
Well, they didn't want anybody walking out.
As a kid, I was just like, the whole movie, I was like, Mom, why isn't he saying it?
Shut up, Adam!
May 17th, the Smithsonian Institute debuts a flying robotic pterodactyl that flies above Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C.
Rad. I remember that, too. That was very cool. Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. On August 8th, The Transformers, the movie, is released in theaters.
Autobots, go to the theater.
That's pretty much, that was the promo, essentially. So the Transformers television series began broadcasting in 1984 to promote the Transformers toys by Hasbro.
Oh, yeah. That's when cartoons went from being great and all, like, even Jabberjaw and weird cartoons like that. Were
Captain Caveman, all that stuff.
No toys.
No.
At least not to begin
with. Eventually they would. But,
sure, they make bendable buddies.
It was mostly bendable buddies.
That's about all you got. But now, and the toy companies and the animators got together and formed an alliance to destroy children.
Well, they literally were making Saturday morning cartoons just to sell toys.
Yeah, and then they finally were like, well, look, you're making a half-hour commercial for toys. You cannot have commercials for your own toys on your show.
Yeah, I know. Finally, they wisened up a little bit.
I mean, they changed.
Or they were forced. Yeah,
they were forced. Just like with sugary cereals, they were forced not to, because kids are super susceptible to anything, and it's like
so are adults.
Right, but I remember being a kid and being like, I need ding-dongs.
No, I know.
It's like,
I'm going to isolate that audio.
I need ding-dongs. Give me my ding-dongs. So, I mean, it went from, entertainment for children to just direct marketing consumerism.
I was 100% that kid that was like, I saw the cartoon. I was like, I have to play with this.
Yeah.
Like, I need to make my own adventures.
Yeah, my parents were very lucky that they didn't do that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, because like with Star Wars, I wanted all of it.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything that had to do with Star Wars. So I get it, but yeah, I mean, it was a relentless onslaught from these toy companies.
So much. In 1983, Hasbro representatives were sent to the Tokyo Toy Show, a toy expo in Japan, in search of prospective toys that they could import to the North American market.
Steal.
Yeah. No, I mean, they would actually pay for them.
Oh, okay.
At the time, Japanese toy manufacturer Takara was showcasing several transforming robot toys from lines such as Diaclone and Microchange.
Great name.
Yeah. Diaclone sounds interesting, but I mean, it sounds like it'd be a weird, like, 50s sci-fi novel.
Diaclone sounds like a medicine that
it does, actually.
that helps you with Crohn's disease or something.
Diaclone, it'll help your diabetes.
Diaclone. Side effects may include vomiting, diarrhea, turning into a robot.
And death.
Hasbro
bought the rights to produce the toys, but decided to release them under a single brand to avoid confusing the market with several series with similar premises.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, other toy molds from other companies such as Bandai were used as well. So they just would go in and pay these guys that did all the work and be like, well, we're going to mass produce these.
So they're like Elon Musk.
Pretty much. That's Hasbro. Nice. Hasbro in a nutshell. Hasbro had a business relationship with Marvel Comics, which had successfully produced the Hasbro tie-in comic book G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero.
Real American Hero. G.I. Joe is here.
Well, it's there. G.I. Joe's
there.
Thank you. That was based on the Hasbro action figure G.I. Joe. Obviously.
Thank you for that.
Yep. Marvel was just to make clear everything up.
Right. Yes.
Marvel was approached once again to provide a backstory for the new toy line. Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter created an overall story, and editor Bob Budiansky created names, short descriptions, and profiles for the characters.
Jim Shooter. I like that.
Jim Shooter. He was the editor-in-chief at Marvel for a long time.
There was some Stephen King character named Shooter.
I think it was in Under the Dome.
Was it Under the Dome, or was it Secret Door or something?
Oh, Secret Window.
Secret Window. Thank you. I think.
I don't think that
John
was
Turturro's character.
Oh, Shooter?
Was Shooter.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he's written 1,000 books. There's probably a couple of Shooter characters in there. I think both
probably. The designs for the original 28 figures were made by renowned anime character and mecha designers Shoji Kawamori and Kazutaka Miyatake.
Honestly, they're pretty impressive toys. I mean, the
designs are incredible. I mean, they were really cool.
Yeah.
The original Megatron was so rad because he would transform into a P-38 handgun, which was a life-size handgun. It also had a stock you could attach to it and a barrel on the end, and then you would use the scope to use it as like a rifle.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre and never would be ever made today. But
it's the same pistol that James Bond uses in the books.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a P-38?
A Walther P-38.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's cool. I really like Megatron.
Yes.
Anyway. When the toy line was released, it was supported by the Marvel Comics series, an animated television series, and a gamut of other merchandising tie-ins. The 3-part pilot miniseries, retroactively titled More Than Meets the Eye.
More Than Meets the Eye.
Thank you. first aired in the United States in September of 1984. It depicted the Autobots and Decepticons leaving Cybertron to search for new sources of energy to revitalize their war efforts, only to crash land on Earth, where they remain entombed and offline for 4 million years.
That's a long time.
It's like in The Thing, where the alien's been there for a long time.
Exactly. In one of the movies, didn't they dig up some guy?
I'm pretty sure. I just no spoilers, but I totally ignored all of the newer movies in the script. So,
well, good. I think most people should ignore those movies. They're horrible.
The 13-episode first season, commissioned and produced before the pilot miniseries aired, was broadcast between October and December in 1984 on Saturday mornings. A loose story arc centered on this technology spans the season, culminating in the Ultimate Doom, a 3-part episode in which the Decepticons teleport Cybertron itself into Earth's orbit.
Wow.
That's a lot going on for a Saturday morning cartoon.
Messed up a lot of the tides.
Yeah, I mean, the moon just crashed right into it.
Yes, there were a lot of lunar incongruities.
Yeah, there you go. 49 further episodes were commissioned for the show's second season in 1985, bringing the total up to the magic number of 65 required to move the series into weekday broadcast syndication.
Yep, that's when you come home from school and you watch Transformers.
Yeah, and that was that's where the real money comes in.
Oh yeah.
I was working for I was working on a show that was adjacent to the West Wing, that same production company. And when I was there when the West Wing got into syndication, and he literally bought like $4,000 bikes for everyone that worked on that show. That is how much money that one syndication deal made.
Thanks for the bike I'll never use.
It was so bizarre. I remember just going into the hallway of our post-production offices and being like, what is this?
Well, that was back when, I mean, nowadays you don't get dick. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the problem is you used to be able to be on a series, and if it hit 5 years, it would hit the 100-episode mark, which was the magic
100,
number.
That was the 100 was the magic number.
For TV. Yeah. Cartoons are different.
Yeah.
But once it hit that 100-episode mark and you got into syndication, you were set for life.
Yeah, that was it. You didn't have to do anything else.
Your residuals would be steady and good, and you could retire if you wanted to.
Yeah. It was just a lot of money.
And now you get like 8 cents.
Yeah, now it's nothing. Season 2 was broadcast between September 1985 and January 1986. Compared to the first season, Season 2 stories were more episodic, with many of them able to air in whatever order the networks chose.
Smart move.
Yeah, that's syndication. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't need to follow a story because you're watching it every day after school.
It's there to push toys like heroin.
Yeah, exactly. The Transformers, the movie, was conceived as a commercial tie-in to promote the 1986 line of toys and to bridge the gap between seasons 2 and 3.
Okay.
The TV series featured no deaths, and the writers had already deliberately assigned familial identities to characters for young children to associate with.
Well, you couldn't kill anybody back then.
Well, no, I mean, because that was the whole thing, is that, like, what are you going to do when you kill a character off and your 7-year-old's freaking out because their favorite character on their Saturday morning show dies?
Well, that's like G.I. Joe, man. It's you're shooting at each other, shooting, and nobody dies. It's like it's like the lamest war ever.
Everyone's there's just blue and red colored lasers everywhere.
I guess we're going to keep on fighting because none of us can kill each other.
It's the eternal war. It goes forever.
Bunch of stormtroopers shooting at each other and missing.
However, for the movie, Hasbro ordered that the film kill off several existing characters to refresh the cast and sell more toys.
Sell more toys, Autobots.
Director Nelson Shin recalled,
Hasbro created the story using characters that could best be merchandised for the film. Only with that consideration could I have freedom to change the storyline.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't think he did at all.
Well, it
doesn't matter.
No.
He could have changed it all. It doesn't matter.
It's just weird. I mean, it's exciting. Oh, I'll get to make a movie and all this stuff, but it's like you're basically just making a 90-minute commercial.
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
You know.
Like, I mean, you can find fun things in it, but, like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, you have zero control over this.
Yep. Control.
Thank you. In the 1970s, Shin worked as an animator at the DePatie Freeling Enterprises and Marvel Productions, where he worked on the Pink Panther films and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
The Pink Panther films? Like the openings for the...
I think it was, the animated openings. Not
those were great.
Movies, yeah. While at DFE, he also contributed to the animation of the lightsaber blades in the original Star Wars. People don't realize that someone had to literally hand animate all of the lightsabers.
Yeah, and they know I did, and they don't realize that I did all the sound.
You did the sound effects, yeah. They called up Jim.
Still do it today.
He had just graduated from the Michael Winslow Academy of Sound
I did.
Effects.
I did.
So they were like, hey, get this young buck in here.
I was the valedictorian. That's the word I was looking for.
Valedictorian, yep. In 1985, Nelson Shin founded the studio ACOM. Much of the animation Shin Studio has produced has been for American television series. Some of ACOM's credits are The Simpsons, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, Invasion America, and Arthur.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, now granted, again, I think this is just doing the animation. Like, it's not writing the series or creating the series.
No.
Like that. But the animation for, like, Batman the Animated Series was really good.
Very good. And The Simpsons, he probably did the early stuff.
Yeah, the early seasons, I'm guessing. Shin's most well-known accomplishment is his direction of the television series The Transformers and The Transformers the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Literally the thing we're talking about.
I mean, the X-Men, is that the X-Men 97 show that everybody loves? It's coming back?
It has to be, yeah. Beginning in 1999, Shin worked on the animated feature film Empress Chung. The film was largely animated in North Korea, and in August 2005 became the first movie ever to open simultaneously in North and South Korea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever heard of something in North Korea actually being released.
Yeah, it almost united the country.
And it didn't.
No.
Ron Friedman wrote the movie, The Transformers the movie.
Please, thank you.
Friedman has written over 700 hours of episodes for many TV series, such as
The Andy Griffith Show, The Good Guys, Bewitched, Gilligan's Island, All in the Family, The Odd Couple, Happy Days, and That's My Mama.
Never heard of That's My Mama.
That's My Mama. That was a great show. Yeah, it was
Okay.
It was an African-American show, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay. In animation, Friedman created the G.I. Joe series and developed Transformers for American television, rewriting over 64 episodes. He also worked with Stan Lee to create the Marvel Action Hour.
Okay.
Friedman has also had 42 feature scripts to his name, including G.I. Joe the movie in 1987.
People forget, too, that nobody really gave an S about Marvel back then.
No, it was, I mean, this is why they were teaming up with Hasbro.
Yeah.
Because they were like, please, someone just buy our comics.
It was not a good time for comics. There would be there'd be a renaissance in comics.
Yeah.
Coming soon with like The Dark Knight and all of these graphic novels.
Yeah.
That would
For Marvel, it was the early 90s. That's when they kind of relaunched the X-Men, and that's when it just exploded.
Right. But that was also the time of The Dark Knight Returns. You know, all of these.
Yeah, kind of.
Dark Knight
Returns
same
was a little
area.
before that, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But it was the late 70s, most of the 80s were just not a good time for comics.
No, because most people were into counterculture comics like R. Crumb or the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah. Well, they just sort of associate a lot of comics with the 60s and like corny stuff and people are like,
Establishment.
It's kid stuff.
Yeah.
Funny how now it's the hugest thing ever.
Well, also there was the comics code and comics were corny. I mean, they were very
They had to be, yeah.
They were very rah America, communism bad.
If you didn't get that CCA stamp, you weren't going to sell anything.
Exactly.
It just wasn't going to happen.
So there wasn't that. The storylines weren't the best back then. Let's just say.
No, that's why we would have really awful villains like the Human Typewriter or something. It's like, yeah.
I insulted you. Oh, you hurt my feelings, Human Typewriter. I'm going to go home.
I guess I'm going to give you all the money in my bank.
Here's a note.
I do want to point out that G.I. Joe the movie, the animated movie, that came out around the time when the animated series was happening, is so far superior to the Transformers the movie.
Yeah, doesn't that have
such a better? It has
Don Johnson, right?
Don Johnson plays Falcon,
yes.
Lieutenant Falcon. It's so good. It's such a good movie.
We'll have to cover that one.
Oh my god, it's such a better movie. He would go on to create the animated series Bionic 6 in 1987.
Okay.
He had been nominated for multiple Emmy Awards and has won several WGA awards.
Cool.
Friedman has appeared twice recently on Gilbert Gottfried's audio podcasts and on Mark Evanier's video podcast in September of 2020.
It must have been a little while ago if it was Gilbert Gottfried.
Well, yeah, 2020. It was September 2020. Cementing his reputation as one of the industry's most compelling raconteurs. Apparently, he has a reputation of just being like a weirdo.
Tell me about the story of when you were making Transformers the movie.
His anecdote, as he told it to Gilbert Gottfried in their first podcast, about Lucille Ball telling him about her then husband Desi Arnaz pulling a gun on Orson Welles and threatening to kill him if he didn't deliver a long promised script. for The Fountain of Youth in 1956 remains particularly astonishing.
Ah, wah, Ricky, wah, don't shoot him, wah.
Okay, wow.
Hey, that was a recording of what happened.
Friedman is now 91, but hasn't worked much since 2007 when he produced the animation for the Simpsons movie.
Nice.
So being that the Transformers, the movie, was getting a theatrical release, a lot of big-name actors were hired, along with some of the actors from the TV series.
Sure. Big named actors?
Well, I mean, yeah.
I guess. I mean,
they're. I mean, I wouldn't expect some of these names to be in a Transformers animated movie.
Eric Idle is the one that stands out the most to me.
Yeah. I mean, Orson Welles. I mean, even
Orson Welles was not. He was doing pee commercials at that point.
Yeah.
He wasn't like his star was faded at that point.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's Orson Welles.
Sure. But
Robert Stack, Leonard Nimoy, I mean, these were
great guys
that didn't need to be doing this.
Well, I mean, maybe.
I mean, look, if I was a name, or even a big name or small name, and someone came to me and said, "Hey, you're literally going to record for like 2 days. Here's $10,000."
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So Peter Cullen was Optimus Prime. Cullen from Montreal, Quebec, played a French-Canadian astronaut character named Commander B.B. Latouque, alongside Ted Ziegler for the 1969 children's show The Buddies on CF-TV in Montreal.
What's that all about?
It's B.B. Latouque.
Where's my toque? Hey, you time to get some back bacon, eh? And we're going to go on a rowboat down the river.
He honed his voice skills by working as a radio announcer, notably in his hometown of Montreal, on then MOR station CKGM, doing the overnight and weekend swing shifts.
What was it?
MOR is like the public radio of Montreal.
Welcome to CKGM, Public Radio of Canada.
Yeah, essentially. From 1967 to 1969, he was the announcer for Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. From 1971 to 1974, he, Ziegler, and Billy Van were series regulars on the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour.
Yeah, comedy in quotes. No, but Smothers Brothers was an amazing show. It was like the first kind of counterculture show. They got canceled because they were so dangerous.
No, they managed to make Steve Martin a name. So I mean,
he was. Yeah. It's so fun.
His first break. Yeah.
If you have some time, go on YouTube and type in Smothers Brothers. Steve Martin, and you'll get to see him.
His first act, his like juggling act, it's so funny.
He's got dark hair. He's very handsome.
He's very handsome. Yeah, it's been making the rounds a lot on the internet as of late.
He's a popular guy, Steve Martin.
He is. In 1974, Cullen was the announcer and a series regular with Ted Ziegler and Billy Van on the Hudson Brothers Razzle Dazzle Show.
Welcome to the Hudson Brothers Razzle Dazzle Show.
Cullen voiced Optimus Prime in the original 1980s Transformers animated series. He has stated that Optimus is his favorite voice role and that he based the voice of the Autobot leader on his older brother Larry, who served in Vietnam.
When he came home, I could see a change. He was quieter, and he was a man and a superhero to me. I watched him and listened to him, and never had an opportunity to do a superhero, and when that came, that voice just came right out of me. I sounded like Optimus.
Yeah. Essentially, I like the fact that Optimus Prime is just a Vietnam veteran with PTSD.
Hey, man, makes him a lot more interesting now.
Yeah. Cullen reprised the role of Optimus Prime in the 2007 Transformers live-action film, the sequels Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and The Last Night, the spin-off Bumblebee, and the recently released Rise of the Beasts, and the video games based on the film series, as well as 3 other Transformers video games and 3 newer animated TV series.
Yeah, he's very. It's like Fat Tony is that way too. Joe Mantegna.
Mantegna. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Joe
Fat
Mantegna.
Tony.
Well, although I'm pretty sure Joe Mantegna just loves the character so much that he's like, anytime they ask, even if it's just a ha or hey,
I love
he'll
Fat
do it.
Tony.
Yeah, he's great. So this is the only time I'm going to mention these movies. So apparently there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Transformers movies, including the spin-off Bumblebee.
Yeah, the first one is okay. It's still a bloated, nasty mess. The Bumblebee movie is probably the best, only because it's very self-contained. It's like Herbie the Love Bug, but with a Transformer.
And it's like a prequel movie. Mm-hmm. And it's got the guy who directed it's really good.
Yeah.
So like I like him. But I got to be honest. I think after Revenge of the Fallen, I don't think I've seen any of them.
I don't know if I probably have, but they're just so forgettable and dumb.
The only reason I remember Revenge of the Fallen was because it was released in 3D, and Jim pointed this out when the movie came out, that it forced Michael Bay to not cut every half second.
Yeah, it actually made it a better movie because he couldn't just have
bang, 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 bang,
like that dizzying horror. The way that he masks his horrible filmmaking by cutting every 6 seconds. I mean, if you put a camera literally everywhere, you're going to get a decent shot.
Yeah, well, I can prove I'm a good director.
No, you can't.
So, Colin's performance in the premiere season of Transformers Prime, one of the newer animated TV series, earned him a nomination for a 2011 Daytime Emmy Award in the Outstanding Performer in an Animated Program category.
Thank you, Academy.
See, I can't, He has also voiced many other characters across a wide variety of popular media, including Eeyore in the Winnie the Pooh franchise.
Hey, Pooh.
I played Eeyore on stage once.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know. The funny thing is, I wrote the play, and then the director literally was like, "You have to play Eeyore."
Oh, God, that's perfect casting.
Got nominated for an award for that.
For playing Eeyore?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Monterey Jack in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. The first voice of Carr in Knight Rider. They eventually changed it to somebody else. And the vocalizations of the title character in Predator.
Carr? That's not Kit. That was a different...
Yeah, I think it was a different car. Like another talking car that was... That, I don't know. I honestly don't think I've ever seen any.
There's another talking car.
Michael, why am I so turned on?
Michael, that car is winking at me.
He voiced Nintendo's mascot Mario in the Donkey Kong segments on Saturday's Supercade, making him the first person to ever provide a voice for the character in Western media.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You could have done it.
I could have.
Cullen can most recently be heard in the animated show Invincible as Thaddeus.
Who's Thaddeus?
I honestly don't remember. It's funny because they keep breaking up these seasons, and every time I'm like, well, I got to go back and watch everything again because I don't remember what's going on.
I've just decided I'm waiting. Like, I haven't watched any of the Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm just going to wait until it's done. I'm going to...
God, that's... Talk about a sad downward binge. I would be so depressed watching 10 hours of Curb.
The cringe binge, as we call it?
Yeah. But I agree. I mean, part of me is like, I'm just going to wait. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
But then the sad part of that is that everybody does that, and then the shows don't get renewed, and then it's done.
Well, then they should know better. They just they F themselves. They created something that people like. They like to binge. They like to watch everything all at once. My folks are bingers.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of retired people like binging. And I'm telling you, breaking it up or doing week to week and making it. I keep saying it over and over again. They're just reinventing cable. Oh, we're going to put commercials in, and then we'll have a whole list of live shows that you can choose from. Oh, how revolutionary.
So Frank Welker is cast as Megatron, Wheelie, Soundwave, Frenzy, Rumble, and one of the Junkions.
One of my absolute heroes, this man.
Frank Welker.
Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
He is he's in the tops. Like, number one is Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
Hands down, greatest actor. Not just voice actor, in my opinion, greatest actor ever. And then Frank Welker is pretty close behind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's just a few guys that were made for this business.
Right.
And Frank Welker is, and I can't believe how old he is, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, he's still out there.
I can't. When he dies, it's just going to be super sad.
It's going to be sad. He began his career in the 1960s and holds over 860 film, television, and video game credits as of 2023, making him one of the most prolific voice actors in history. And this is amazing to me, and this is why I include this. With his films earning a total worldwide box office gross of $17.4 billion from 112 movies, he is also the third highest grossing actor as of 2023.
Not paid, but he's not like getting paid the most, but his movies are highest
box
grossing.
Office gross.
Right,
yeah.
Unfortunately, he probably made about $1,700 from all of that.
But hey, you know what? He's going to keep working.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying the voiceover situation, at least it's gotten a little bit better, but it's just, unless you're top tier, it's really hard to make money.
It's like, well, that's why you can work on 5 different projects in a week.
Unless you're
paid 5 different times.
Work for The Simpsons, you get like $50 million.
Well, yeah. Surprisingly, number 4 in the worldwide, the highest grossing actors, John Ratzenberger, with $16.7 billion from 52 movies.
Well, yeah, because it's the
All
Pixar
the Pixar
movies.
stuff.
Yeah.
Welker is behind Stan Lee, who is number 1 with $30.6 billion from 50 movies, which is also ironic because he usually has one line in every movie.
Well, I mean, that's a cameo.
I know. And Samuel Jackson with $27.7 billion from 142 movies.
Yeah, he worms his way into every franchise he can. And for the better of the franchise.
Sure. Yeah,
I mean, Sam Jackson is an American treasure.
He is. Welker is best known for voicing Fred Jones in the Scooby-Doo franchise since its inception in 1969, and the title protagonist himself since 2002.
Hey, Scoob.
Hey, Scoob.
Hey, guy. I don't know how he...
I don't.
I wear an ascot.
Yeah. In 2020, Welker reprised the latter role in the CGI animated film Scoob. The only original voice actor from the series in the movie's cast.
Rest or dead.
Yeah. He has also voiced Baby Kermit in the original Muppet Babies.
I'm a baby.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in Epic Mickey and its sequel. He's done Megatron, Galvatron, Soundwave, and various characters in the Transformers franchise. Santa's Little Helper and Snowball 2 on The Simpsons.
Roof.
Yeah. Shao Kahn and Reptile in the 1995 Mortal Kombat film.
Mortal Kombat.
Curious George in the Curious George franchise.
I'm curious.
Garfield on The Garfield Show.
F you. I'm sorry, Kate Garfield.
Nibbler on Futurama. The titular character in Jabberjaw.
Jabber, 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 jaw.
Speed Buggy in the Scooby-Doo franchise. Astro and Orbity on the 1980s revival of the Jetsons.
Rhyme Rastro.
And various characters on the Smurfs. Much of his work includes animal and monster vocalizations.
Yes.
He just has an amazing range.
Well, Nibbler also talks like this
He
when
does,
he's talking.
yeah. In 2016, he received a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award. He was nominated for the Children's and Family Emmy Award for Outstanding Voice Performance in an Animated Program in 2022. And despite their on-screen rivalry in the Transformers series, Welker and Cullen are actually very close friends.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're the two tops.
They've been doing it together forever.
Decades, yeah. And they play a lot of, like, bad guy, good guy, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. They go back and forth a lot. Leonard Nimoy is Galvatron, the resurrected Megatron.
Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, whatever. Despite Welker voicing Galvatron in the later seasons of the TV series, in the movie, the character was voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Beam me up, Megatron.
Nimoy is best known for playing Spock in the Star Trek franchise.
Logical.
This includes originating Spock in the original Star Trek series in 1966, then Star Trek the Animated Series, the first 6 Star Trek films, and Star Trek The Next Generation. Nimoy has also directed films including Star Trek III, The Search for Spock in 1984, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home in 1986,
Good one.
and 3 Men and a Baby in 1987.
Good movie.
Which is a great movie. It's one of my guilty pleasures. And appeared in several films, television shows, and voice acted in several video games.
Yeah.
In 1975, Nimoy's renditions of Ray Bradbury's There'll Come Soft Rains and Usher 2, both from the Martian Chronicles, were released on Caedmon Records.
And do not forget The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Oh, yeah. He had a... I did not include any of that. But yes, that was so
number
bizarre.
one single, straight to the top.
So bizarre. During 1980, Nimoy hosted the Friday Adventure Night segment of the radio drama series Mutual Radio Theater, heard via the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Okay.
Together with John Delancey, another actor from the Star Trek franchise. He plays Q.
Oh, yeah.
John Delancey. Nimoy created Alien Voices, an audio production venture that specializes in audio dramatizations.
Very cool.
This is fascinating because I'd never heard of this. Among the works jointly narrated by the pair are The Time Machine, Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Lost World, The Invisible Man, The First Men in the Moon, and several television specials for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Very cool.
Sadly, the venture was eventually discontinued due to a lack of recouping costs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very niche thing.
You can make money off of audio dramatizations.
Yeah. Something that you do because you love it, not because you're going to make money.
Hey, Leonard, this is not 1930.
Illogical.
In January 2014, Nimoy revealed publicly that he'd been diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, also known as COPD, a condition he attributed to a smoking addiction he had quit about 30 years earlier.
That's the worst thing, man. Most smokers that don't quit smoking never get lung cancer.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm waiting for the repercussions of my smoking addiction
How long did you smoke for?
I smoked probably close to 30 years.
30, really? I didn't realize it was
20
that
to
long.
50, no, 20, a little less, like
No
20
less than
something
that.
years. Yeah.
20 something. My dad smoked for a long time, and he has COPD.
Yeah, my stepdad smoked for a long time. I think that's what got him.
Yeah. On February 19th, 2015, having been in and out of hospitals for several months, Nimoy was taken to UCLA Medical Center for chest pains. On February 25th, 2015, Nimoy fell into a coma and died of complications from COPD at his home in the Bel Air neighborhood of Los Angeles on the morning of February 27th at the age of 83.
Yeah, good run, but sad.
Yeah.
He was great.
We lost a good one. He was,
Oh, yeah.
He was a great person. Judd Nelson was cast as Hot Rod, and then eventually Rodimus Prime.
What about you, Dad?
I know.
F you. What about you, Dad?
It's so weird because to me, it did not sound like Judd Nelson at all.
Yeah, because he sounded positive and he didn't have that
He
attitude.
wasn't angry the whole time. Nelson began acting in the mid-1980s, starring in Making the Grade in 1984 and in Fandango in 85, starring opposite Kevin Costner.
Fandango is a great movie. We're definitely going to cover that.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's really good. I think it also has Daniel Stern might be in it.
Yes, I think you're right.
And there's one other guy too. But it's just this fun movie about these guys. I think one of them is going to go. I think actually Judd Nelson is going to Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
and then they're kind of like having a last big weekend,
a big guys' weekend. To say goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was his roles in John Hughes' The Breakfast Club in 85 and Joel Schumacher's St. Elmo's Fire in 85, and his affiliation with the Brat Pack that made Nelson a star, along with Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Demi Moore, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy, all part of the Brat Pack.
Yeah. They all hated that too. I mean, I don't blame them.
Did.
It's just like, F you guys.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Nelson's career couldn't maintain the level of success he found with his early films, being more regulated to B movies.
Didn't really know what to do with Judd Nelson.
No.
And there were some major missteps for him.
Yes. He had bad agents. Oh. They should have, because he's a good actor. Like, they should have really chosen better for him.
He's good at a certain part.
Yeah. He's got a narrow range.
From the Hip, man. We're going to have to do another haterade. From the Hip.
Oh, yeah?
His movie with him, he and David Alan Grier, when he was really young and skinny.
Oh, wow.
They play like these lawyers. And at the beginning of the movie, they're, I think one's the prosecutor, one's the... Anyway, they make a deal to basically manipulate the court or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got like what's his name? John Hurd.
Okay.
John Hurd. Is that the one that talks like this? The one that was an alien? That's John Hurd, right?
No, yeah. I think so.
The one that Chestbuster, John Hurd, right?
No, that's not John Hurd. It's John Hurt.
Okay, John Hurt.
Sorry, that's why. But John Hurt is somebody else.
He plays the killer.
John Hurt.
Anyway, it's just an awful movie, and and he had this string of these really dumb bad movies,
right? Just bad movies,
that just killed his career.
Yeah, just not good choices. He did find more luck in TV. He appeared in 71 episodes of the sitcom Suddenly Susan from 1996 to 99.
Yeah.
He also did 5 episodes on the drama Empire.
Okay.
In 2007, he returned to voice acting for the first time since the Transformers the movie, voicing John Bender in the Family Guy episode Blue Harvest.
Okay. He also was in Moonlighting. He did an episode, Devil in the Blue Dress, with Whoopi Goldberg when she was smoking hot.
Yeah. This would lead to more voice work with a recurring role on Ben 10 Omniverse.
Okay.
And reprising his role of Hot Rod in Transformers Titans Return and Transformers Power of the Primes.
Never heard of these.
These were all like 2010s like animated series.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just interesting to me that he was like, you know what? Voiceover. Why not go back to it?
You work when you work, and you work what kind of work you can work.
Yeah. He most recently can be seen in The Most Dangerous Game, the remake of the 1932 movie starring Tom Berenger, Bruce Dern, and Casper Van Dien.
Oh, poor old Bruce Dern. He was just nominated for an Oscar. He doesn't need to be relegated to these crap movies.
He does not. Eric Idle was cast as Wreck-Gar, a transformer from the world of Junkion, a race of robots built out of junk that can only speak in film catchphrases and advertising slogans due to receiving decades of Earth broadcasts.
So they're basically the aliens from Explorers in robot form.
Yes. Blech. And it's exactly, they stole this for the newer Transformers movie for Bumblebee, who can't talk. He can just recite or replay
Recorded messages.
Yeah. Idol founded the sketch comedy group Monty Python's Flying Circus and the Beatles parody band The Ruddles. The Ruddles. Monty Python ran from 69 to 74, and then followed up with the films Monty Python and the Holy Grail in 75, Life of Brian in 79, and The Meaning of Life in 1983.
All absolute classics. Monty Python is the greatest sketch comedy group ever.
Yes.
I think the best would be they and Kids in the Hall. Mm-hmm. And that's it. No, but they were revolutionary in terms of like having sketches bleed into each other and commentary. It's just, I remember, this is so funny. So they used to play like Monty Python on the PBS when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And my friend was like, "You got to watch Monty Python. There's boobs." Because I was like 11 or 10, you know.
You wanted to see
popular.
boobs. Yeah.
They were a big part of my life back then. So went for the boobs, stayed for the comedy, man, and it was such a incredible influence on me in terms of comedy. And I had friends. There was a group of guys that wore like the handkerchiefs on their heads.
Oh, yeah.
Like I forget which sketch it was, and they were like the Monty Python fan group in high school or whatever. So good.
Yeah, the Monty Python and Kids in the Hall are, and there's only one other sketch comedy group that I have all the episodes of on physical media.
Nice.
It's The State.
The State was good. Yeah.
The first couple seasons were good. Unfortunately, the DVD collection is crap because they were aired on MTV and they had a lot of good music in it. Couldn't put any of it in the DVD, so the DVD is not really great. Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, I definitely Kids in the Hall and very part of my treasured collection because they're just amazing.
Oh my god! And if you missed the Kids in the Hall redo when they came out a couple of years ago,
yeah,
they're just as funny as they were.
One of the greatest moments I ever had was working with 4 of the 5 Kids in the Halls guys down at the Peter Allen Theater. They were so nice and so fun.
Hilarious.
Idol made his Broadway debut with his adaptation of Monty Python and the Holy Grail into a musical, Spamalot, which came out in 2005, which was a critical and commercial success, earning the Tony Award for Best Musical and Grammy Award for Best Musical Theater Album. Spamalot is amazing. I do not like musicals, and it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, because it's Python.
Because it is so irreverent and funny. It is so funny.
Well, there's a lot of music in Camelot too. I mean, there was,
Yeah, I mean, it's great though because they incorporate the audience. Like at one point, they have to go and redo the entire first act of the musical because it's like they're like, no, this is wrong, and then it's so funny.
But that lends itself because the greatest ending of a comedy movie ever is they all get arrested.
Yeah, it's just we didn't know how to end this, so here it is. According to them, they ran out of money.
Brilliant, though.
Idol had a long career, and at 80 continues to work. We will definitely be covering him more in depth at a future date.
Oh, my God, of course.
He most recently can be seen in The Masked Singer, where he played a hedgehog, but was eliminated in the first round.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
It is sad, and I can't imagine. I'm sure it's Eric Idle's like, whatever, I'm going to be on the show.
Rudy Giuliani was on The Masked Singer. That's how corrupt and gross that show is.
Well, the show's just stupid. Casey Kasem was cast as Cliff Jumper.
I'm Casey Kasem.
Kasem is possibly possibly best known for the radio countdown show American Top 40.
A long-distance dedication. Jill says of John, "John, I love you. I'm sorry I cheated on you with your brothers several times. Now I want to send this song to tell you that I'm sorry. And that song is Beat It by Michael Jackson."
Kasem began hosting the original American Top 40 on the weekend of July 4th, 1970, and remained there until 1988.
I listen to that show every weekend, man.
I didn't realize it was that early.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You would listen because back in the day, the way that you got your songs was you would tape them off the radio.
Right.
And it was always a crapshoot. You had to sit there with your hands waiting for and then the DJ would inadvertently just be, we're going to talk about this guy over the
long intros where it's like, when is he going to stop? When is he going to stop?
Just let the music play. Yeah. But with this, you had a better chance because you knew what was coming. Because it was the top 40, and he would have the long distance dedication, and all of these little things that made it very personal.
Yeah,
and
it was
like,
great. And he had a great voice.
He was so good.
It was great. He would then spend 9 years after that hosting another countdown titled Casey's Top 40, beginning in January of 1989.
You got to put my name on it,
and ending in February of 1998. before returning to revive American Top 40 in 1998. It's funny because he recorded down at the corner of Ventura and Van Nuys.
Oh, wow.
Like there was the Fox Sports building and stuff. But I remember driving by there when I first moved out here like 20 years ago and seeing, American Top 40 on the outside.
Casey Kasem.
Yeah. He also had a long career as a voice actor. He was the first voice actor to voice Shaggy Rogers in the Scooby-Doo franchise.
Zoinks!
From 69 to 97 and then 2002 to 2009.
Hey, Scoob!
And as Dick Grayson / Robin in Super Friends from 73 to 85.
Holy crap, Batman!
He also appeared in 60 episodes of the Transformers TV show, playing Cliffjumper, I'm assuming. Kasem also provided many commercial voiceovers, performed many voices for children's television, such as Sesame Street and the Transformers cartoon series, such as Sesame Street. He was the voice of NBC and helped with the annual Jerry Lewis Telethon.
And his wife was on Cheers as Carla's ex-husband's wife. No, when you talk like this.
Is that his wife?
That was
I
Gene
didn't know
Kasem.
that.
Yeah,
I
Gene
didn't
Kasem.
know that. Oh,
Mhm.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's so great. She was so good.
Hilarious.
She was so stupid. But, I mean, obviously the character was stupid.
Right.
But,
she was also a lot taller than him. So it
Yes.
was like they were such an odd-looking couple. But, she was on Cheers.
I didn't know that. In October 2013, Carrie Kasem announced that her father had Parkinson's disease, diagnosed in 2007.
Oh.
However, a few months later, she said that he had Lewy body dementia, which is hard to differentiate from Parkinson's. I don't even know what Lewy body dementia is. I've heard of it, but
It's horrible. That's what Robin Williams was, I believe.
Oh, really? That's, I think, why I've heard of it.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with that, and the prognosis is dire.
I think the difference between that and Parkinson's is that Parkinson's causes tremors. It's more neurological based, whereas the Lewy body stuff is more muscle and like just.
Well, it's both because you also suffer from dementia, which is a nice bonus to it.
But it's the thing is that as far as we've gone in medical, like they still don't really know how to differentiate or diagnose any of this stuff.
It's a disease that robs you of everything, leaves you to basically for your body to eat itself. I mean, it's especially for somebody like Robin Williams or Casey Kasem, who their whole being is their voice and their mind, and especially with Robin Williams, the quickness. I would have done the same thing if I were him. I believe. I mean, I would not want to.
No, the idea
go through all of that and then burden everyone around you to have to take care of you.
Oh no, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Misdiagnosed.
Well, he was diagnosed and then later realized that it wasn't. But that's just how far they've come, because at the beginning, like 20 years ago, they essentially were just like, well, it's the opinion of the doctors. And then they finally now have an actual test you can do. And when he went to a different doctor, they were like 15 years later, they're like, oh, you actually don't have it. The whole time it was like knowing exactly like this is going to kill me.
Yeah.
Like I know this is going to kill me.
And your dad having to take all the medication and everything, superfluous stuff that he didn't need that probably,
who knows how that affected him.
Exactly. I mean, he should sue that MFer.
It's not, it's difficult because at the time there was no definite way of being able to know.
Well, I like your dad. He's a good guy. Makes me mad.
I know. Oh, trust me. He wasn't very happy about it either.
Oh, I know. We talked about it.
So the Lewy body dementia that Kasem had left him unable to speak during his final months of his life.
So sad.
Which is horrible for someone who made their life off
with
of
their voice. Yeah. I mean, that's like Roger Ebert, too. I mean, he lost his jaw and he wasn't able to.
On June 15th, 2014, Kasem died at St. Anthony's Hospital in Gig Harbor, Washington, at the age of 82. His last couple of years were awful because not just this, and I didn't include any of this, but there was a whole thing with his family. Like his kids, I think he got remarried very late in life.
Yeah, he did.
And his kids like sued because they were like, no, he had Parkinson's. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he can't rewrite and he can't rewrite his will, and then there was a whole court battle and all this. It was just awful.
It happens with so many. It's just like I think it's going on now with John Amos from Good Times.
Oh,
There's something going on with his family and taking advantage of him. Peter Falk.
Yeah, that happened to him too.
He got dementia, and then people were taking advantage. The nightmare end of life for some of these people is just it's awful. Sad. Yeah,
it's just awful. Robert Stack was cast as Ultra Magnus. I do not remember him being so much in this movie. But he had a huge
Was
part.
he?
Yeah.
Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, he was the guy that got blown up, and then they brought him back together. He had the Matrix for a long time.
Oh, he
after
was the
Optimus Prime.
guy.
That was Ultra Magnus,
Okay.
yeah. But he's just had a much bigger part than I remember him having. I just love Robert Stack's voice. Like, he's
Of
just
course.
so great.
He's got one of the best.
Yeah, he's well known for his deep voice and commanding presence, appearing in over 40 feature films. He starred in the ABC television series The Untouchables from 1959 to 1963,
Playing Elliot Ness.
for which he won the 1960 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Performance by an Actor in a Series. He would reprise the role of Elliot Ness in an episode of Star Trek Voyager in 2000.
I'm Elliot Ness.
He later hosted and narrated 292 episodes of the true crime series Unsolved Mysteries, which ran from 87 to 2002. I did not realize it went that late.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it ended in the 90s.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh,
Tonight, a young woman was on her way to bingo when all of a sudden she disappeared. And nobody saw her for 20 years. Do you know this lady?
Yeah.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
It was such a great show. I was
So great they brought it back on
did.
Netflix.
Yeah,
Did a reboot.
The reboot was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in the film Written on the Wind in 1956.
Okay.
Later in his career, Stack was known for his deadpan comedy roles that lampooned his dramatic on-screen persona, most notably as Captain Rex Kramer in Airplane in 1980.
All right, this is what you got to do.
He was so great in that movie. He would also do voice work in Beavis and Butthead Do America in 1996.
He was great in that,
He
too.
was so good in that. Narrating the TV show Hercules in 1998 on Disney and in the feature film Hercules Zero to Hero in 1999, as well as guest spots on The Angry Beavers in 2000 and King of the Hill in 2001, and a main role in Butt Ugly Martians from 2001 to 2003.
You Martians are butt ugly.
I don't remember there being a show called Butt Ugly Martians.
I don't either, but I'm all watching now.
Yeah. He underwent radiation therapy for prostate cancer in October of 2002 and died of heart failure at his home in Bel Air, Los Angeles on May 14th, 2003 at the age of 84.
Wow, I didn't know it was that long ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I did. Yeah, I know. Same. Lionel Stander was cast as Cup.
With a K.
With a K. He hangs out. He's the one that hangs out with Hot Rod for most of the movie. Yeah, he's the like, hey kid. He's always like, kid.
Hey, kid, what you gotta do here is you gotta transform, all right? Transform into a core.
Stander was actually a founding member of the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
He had an extensive career in theater, film, radio, and television that spanned nearly 70 years from 1928 until 1994. He was known on-screen for his distinctive raspy voice and tough guy demeanor, and off-screen for his outspoken left-wing political beliefs.
Yep.
One of the first Hollywood actors to be subpoenaed before the House Un-American Activities Committee during the Second Red Scare, Stander was blacklisted from the late 1940s until the mid-1960s.
Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
He wouldn't. He would not back down, and he did not name any names, which is why he got horribly blacklisted.
Name some names, Stander.
He wouldn't.
No, I won't name any yet.
Name some names, Stander.
No, go F yourself.
Following his experience with the Hollywood blacklist, Stander moved to Europe, where he appeared in many genre films, including several spaghetti westerns.
Ooh.
He returned to the United States in the late 1970s, playing the role of the Major Domo Max on the 1980s mystery television series Heart to Heart, earning him a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor, series, miniseries, or television film.
I take care of the hearts. Mr. and Mrs. Hart, when they're solving crimes, I come in there and I give them, here's your club sandwich, Mr. Hart, and here's your shipping, Mrs. Hart.
Stander was married 6 times and fathered 6 daughters. I don't know if they were from all 6 different wives.
Well, they can only stand so much of that voice.
Yeah. His last film role was in The Last Good Time in 1994, co-starring Armin Mueller-Stahl, Olivia Dabo, and Maureen Stapleton in his final theatrical role, directed by Bob Balaban.
Oh, yeah. Remember Armin Mueller-Stahl? He was,
yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen The Last Good Time, so I'm curious. I mean, I like all the actors. So
I'm pretty sure I did see it.
and I love Bob Balaban, so I would definitely be down for anything he directed.
And he's got such a fun name to say, Babalabat.
He does. He's so good. Stander died of lung cancer in Los Angeles, California in 1994 at the age of 86.
Oh, God, a lot of hard deaths in this one.
But they're all in their 80s. I mean, they made it for a while, but
Yeah, but still, it's
cancer sucks.
Can't any of them just die in their sleep peacefully?
No.
They got to
No.
get all this dementia and cancer and just and crappy kids and all sorts of stuff. Ugh.
John Machida Jr. as Blur. He is best known for his rapid speech delivery.
I'm going to go to Micro Machines.
Yeah, Moshida has been credited in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's fastest talker, with the ability to articulate 586 words per minute.
That's like what I'm going to do. I can talk really fast.
His record was broken in 1990 by Steve Woodmore, who spoke 637 words per minute, and then by Sean Shannon, who spoke 655 words per minute on August 30th, 1995.
Nice.
However, Moshida questions the legitimacy of those claim to be faster than him.
I don't believe they did it. They used performance-enhancing drugs. They used cocaine. I didn't know. I only used cocaine when I was doing the Transformers movies because it took really fast.
He appeared in over 100 commercials as the Micro Machines Man and in a 1981 ad for FedEx. I loved the Micro Machines when I was young.
Micro Machines.
They were just so...
Everybody get Micro Machines.
They were actually kind of pointless, but they were just tiny little cars.
Little
but I
teeny,
loved them.
teeny weeny cars.
In addition to his commercials for Federal Express, Moshida completed over 750 television and radio commercials, including national campaigns for
Mineral Rights, Quality in Northwest Airlines, Olympus Camera, Mattel, Pulse Cereals, Tiger Games, Continental Airlines, Burger King, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, HBO, Micro Machines, and JetBlue.
Nice. That was good. In addition to voicing Blur in the movie, he also provided the voice in the Transformers TV show and in Transformers Animated between 2008 and 2009, and 2 direct-to-video films.
Oh, yeah. It's awful. Listening, it's just the worst. Blur was the worst to me.
Yeah,
I can't, every time he started talking.
He was the epitome of what is going on in this movie. His last credit is for the Fox show Superhuman, which aired in 2017. He's still around. He's in his 60s.
He just can't talk fast anymore.
I don't know. I mean, he in 2017 did. That was the whole thing. Superhuman was about people that have these weird superhuman abilities.
Hey, my superhuman ability is talking really fast.
I remember trying to watch it, and then just it was around the time when Fox was just being weird.
But good for him. I mean, that dude built a career on talking fast.
Yeah. Donald Messick was cast as Scavenger in Gears.
Gears.
His best remembered voice roles include
Scooby-Doo, Bam Bam Rubble, and Hoppy and the Flintstones, Astro and the Jetsons, Muttley and Wacky Racers, and Dastardly and Muttley in their flying machines, Boo Boo Bear and Ranger Smith in the Yogi Bear Show, Sebastian the Cat in Josie and the Pussycats, Gears, Ratchet, and Scavenger in the Transformers, Papa Smurf and Azrael in the Smurfs, Hampton J. Pig in Tiny Toon Adventures, and Dr. Benton Quest in Johnny Quest.
Don Messick, we've talked about him before because he did Scooby-Doo, or the original Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So we listened to our Scooby-Doo episode, the Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode.
But Dr. Benton Quest. Oh, I love Johnny Quest. Johnny, you go with race. Go with this older man and your little friend Haji and your dog Bandit. And I'm going to do science things.
He was also a very well-known voice actor for a long, long time. Don Messick suffered a second stroke and died on October 24th, 1997 in Salinas, California at the age of 71.
Oh.
Yeah. Scatman Crothers was cast as Jazz.
Scatman Crothers. Oh, God. Loved him so much. So much as a kid. Like, talk about talent crush. Anytime Scatman came on, I loved the Chico and the Man.
Yeah.
I loved anything that he did. Oh, God.
He was the only character that as soon as he started talking, you were like, is that Scatman Crothers?
Of course. I'm a scat head.
Oh my God. Sounds terrible.
That's our super fans. We call ourselves scat heads.
Well, don't look up scat heads online, whatever you do.
Scatological.
Crothers is best known for playing Louis the Garbage Man on the TV show Cheeky and the Man, and Dick Halloran in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
You got the shine, Doc. Doc, you got the shine. If you need anything, you give me a call, Doc. Or you gotta call me. You got the shine.
He was also a prolific voiceover actor who provided the voices of Meadowlark Lemon in the Harlem Globetrotters animated TV series. He also voiced Jazz the Autobot in the Transformers TV show, the title character in Hong Kong Phooey, and Scat Cat in the animated film The Aristocats in 1970.
Hong Kong Phooey. Oh, my God. I love that. He was a janitor, dog, and then he would jump into the...
Hong Kong Phooey was great.
He would jump into the file cabinet and turn into Hong Kong Phooey. I'm Hong Kong Phooey. Loved him.
On November 22nd, 1986, Crothers died at age 76 in his home in Van Nuys after struggling with lung cancer for nearly 4 years.
Oh, so sad.
I didn't realize it was 86.
Yeah, 76.
No, in 86 when he died.
Oh, okay.
He was 76.
Right.
But I just didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
That long ago.
Yeah. I mean, because he was old in The Shining. He was in his 60s.
That's true. I mean, yeah.
He was always kind of an old, wise dude.
Yeah. He was in the animated feature Rock Odyssey where he stars as a living jukebox.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No.
I
love him, but I don't
It was
remember that.
weird. It was weird. Orson Welles was cast as Unicron.
Rosebud.
Wells is a legendary movie and theater director with too many interesting things to talk about in an episode about the Transformers, the movie.
We'll definitely be covering him more.
Definitely.
The man basically invented cinema. If you look at Citizen Kane, the amount of shots and just the trickery that he did.
Yeah,
and just
the pure art.
Yeah,
He did,
I mean, I think he came up with the point of view shot. I mean, so many different things, shots that we just take for granted today.
Yeah.
He invented
the long
tracking
shots, the push-ins, the rack focuses. Like he did all of those, almost all of those.
Oh yeah,
originally Citizen Kane. Where he goes through the window,
through the window, or the tracking up the fence in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, just some amazing things.
Yeah, he was amazing, and not to mention, I mean, he was also behind the War of the Worlds scare. Plus, like he was a huge proponent of using minorities in theater stuff.
Look, the guy was incredible. He did so much for theater, so much for film, so much for Ernest and Julio Gallo, the wine company.
He was also apparently extremely difficult to work with.
Oh my God.
He was very much a diva and very hard to work with. And on top of that, like the family that owns the Magic Castle, like Orson Welles was big into magic.
Yeah.
And they have like a private theater at their house, and I produced some shows there.
Yeah.
And they had a seat. And it was a big
big
love
seat
that was in the back because Orson Welles would come in like 10 minutes after show started and just sit in the back and watch magic shows and then leave.
Munch on bugles really loud. He'd put them on his finger like
the
nails.
greatest moment was when I sat down in Orson Welles' chair and watched a magic show. Like It was so cool. Anyway, he was a fascinating guy.
Genius, absolutely.
Don't know if I'd ever want to work with him, but
well, it's like Kubrick. I mean, geniuses, absolute geniuses, and people that completely redefined cinema and were influences well beyond their death, and still today, both of them.
The really weird thing, the thing to remember, is that all that Citizen Kane stuff, he did all that when he was like 23.
Yeah, well, he peaked. That's the problem.
Crazy. I know.
The problem with him is he peaked early, and then he didn't know what to do.
He was always trying to find that again.
And he also burned bridges with everybody because he was an insufferable a-hole to work with, unfortunately.
He was.
And that's why he was relegated to doing pea commercials.
Yeah.
Not urine, but frozen peas.
Frozen pea commercials.
These frozen peas, you want me to say they're deliciously green? That makes no sense. Colors aren't delicious. Food is delicious. I need a cigar.
He would definitely know.
I made Citizen Kane, goddammit.
So on the evening of October 9th, 1985, Wells recorded his final interview on the syndicated TV program The Merv Griffin Show, appearing with biographer Barbara Leeming.
Ooh.
Wells returned to his house in Hollywood and worked into the early hours typing stage directions for the project he and Gary Graver were planning to shoot at UCLA the following day.
Interesting.
Wells died sometime on the morning of October 10th following a heart attack. He was found by his chauffeur at around 10 a.m. He was 70 years old when he died.
Young.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he was in such bad shape.
Yeah, he did not take good care of himself. The last film roles before Wells' death included voice work in the animated films Enchanted Journey in 1984 and the animated film The Transformers the Movie, in which he provided the voice of the planet-eating supervillain Unicron.
I am Unicron.
He finished recording his lines for the movie on October 5th, just 5 days before his death.
This movie's going to kill me.
Easy. Oh, wait, it did.
Slate reported that his
voice was apparently so weak by the time he made the recording that technicians needed to run it through a synthesizer to salvage it.
He talked so slowly. He was also reading his lines so slowly that the audio had to be shorted to speed it up about 8%. Shin stated that Wells had originally been pleased to accept the role after reading the script and had expressed it in admiration for animated films.
I like animated films.
Shortly before his death, Wells told his biographer Barbara Leeming,
"You know what I did this morning? I played the voice of a toy. I play a planet. I menace somebody called something or other. Then I'm destroyed. My plan to destroy whoever it is thwarted, and I tear myself apart on the screen."
Okay. It's perfect, actually. Perfect description.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Old, what's his name? Tron.
His last film appearance was in Henry Jaglom's 1987 independent film Someone to Love, released 2 years after his death, but produced before his voiceover in Transformers the movie.
Whatever happened to Henry Jaglom? I mean, he made so many great independent films.
Did he?
Yes. Eating is great. Venice is great. Baby Fever I've seen. Last Summer in the Hamptons isn't that great. But yeah.
That's the only one I think I've heard of.
He made a lot of, like, he was one of the first kind of darling independent directors, that came up. And
Right. It's interesting. I don't think I've ever, I'll have to do more research on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you would like his stuff. It's very interesting.
Orson Welles' last television appearance was on the television show Moonlighting. He recorded an introduction to an episode entitled The Dream Sequence Always Rings Twice, which was partially filmed in black and white.
Yeah, sitting there smoking one of his giant, it's like the size of a sausage cigar.
Ugh.
In tonight's episode, it's going to be turning black and white. There's nothing wrong with your television.
Yeah.
It's just a stylized voice.
The episode aired 5 days after his death and was dedicated to his memory.
Yeah.
I just was watching, they have a new season of Somebody Feed Phil, the Netflix show.
Yeah.
And the last episode we watched, Norman Lear was on it. And it made me sad.
Yeah.
So he told a really funny joke.
Norman Lear was sharp
But he
as
was
S. I mean, he was producing stuff to the day he
100
died.
years old, and he was still funny as hell.
It's a double-edged sword, man, because, like, part of it is if you kind of go nuts when you get old, then it's probably easier just to get old and die. But if you are sharp as a tack until 100 and you're just aware of everything that's going on, it just seems like it'd be extremely depressing. Also, the fact that you probably outlived everybody. Like Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Poor mother effer, It's like
Everybody.
he and Carl Reiner would have dinner every night, best buddies. And it was like, what does he do now? He's got no one.
Yeah. Watches Jeopardy by himself.
Oh, I'm sure he's got a bunch of little hangers on.
I'm sure he does.
Bunch of little comedy nerds trying to come over. Yeah, I'll be your friend.
So the film's budget was $6 million, 6 times greater than that of the equivalent 90 minutes of the TV series.
Okay. It is a feature.
Yeah. Shin's team of almost 100 personnel normally took 3 months to make one episode of the series, so the extra budget did not help the considerable time constraints from the concurrent production of both the film and the TV series.
Huh.
They were like, yeah, we need this feature film, but you got to keep making season 3.
F you, man.
A scene in which Ultra Magnus is drawn and quartered was scripted and storyboarded.
Good Lord.
But replaced with the scene of him being shot and then just basically explodes.
Well, yeah, they still, burst into
he's still
parts.
in pieces, yeah. Another unproduced scene would have killed basically the entire 84 product line in a charge against the Decepticons. They literally, Hasbro wanted them to kill everyone.
So stupid. So short-sighted. So stupid.
That being said, they still managed to kill off a lot of characters, including
Brawn, Prowl, Ratchet, Ironhide, Wheeljack, Windcharger, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Shrapnel, Bombshell, Kickback, Starscream, Kranix, Ultra Magnus, Shockwave, and Unicron.
In total, 70 Transformers are killed in the movie.
Oh, good, because those names are stupid.
Megatron was killed and revived as Galvatron.
Don't kill me!
Yeah, and of course Optimus Prime. The biggest shock to moviegoers.
Ouch.
Shin conceived of Prime's body fading to gray to show that
The spirit was gone from the body.
the decision to kill off main characters was not met well by audiences and the creatives behind the project.
This is what is so remarkable to me.
Yeah.
Is that these idiots were like, nobody going to care.
but
It's just toys.
8-year-olds will get it.
They don't
It's
care.
fine.
They just want new toys. They're just giving them new toys. They don't have what do you mean an emotional attachment? They're just kids.
What do they know about emotional attachment?
Just walk it off.
Screenwriter Ron Friedman, who had written for the TV series, advised against killing Autobot leader Optimus Prime. He said,
To remove Optimus Prime, to physically remove Daddy from the family, that wasn't going to work. I told Hasbro and their lieutenants they would have to bring him back, but they said no and had great things planned. In other words, they were going to create new, more expensive toys. First of all, gross calling him
well,
daddy.
It's Ron Friedman. He's a weirdo. According to the screenwriters, Hasbro underestimated the extent to which Prime's death would shock the young audience.
Yeah, you think?
Story consultant Flint Deal said,
We didn't know he was an icon. It was a toy show. We just thought we were killing off old product line to replace it with new products. Kids were crying in the theaters. We heard about people leaving the movie. We were getting a lot of nasty notes about it. There was some kid who locked himself in his bedroom for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That kid has emotional problems.
Well, yeah, he probably had a horrible stepdad.
Well, that kid was me. No.
Optimus Prime was subsequently revived in the TV series.
Yeah, it's just how out of touch are you?
This is again, this is in line with the show, in line with our month of Haterade and how executives should not be making creative decisions.
Hey, guys. Look, we don't see characters. We see money.
Dollar signs.
Dollar signs. Thank you.
Dollar signs.
Dollar signs, Prime, as we called him, seemed to have outlasted his economic viability. So we're like, new toys. Why are they going to care? Kids are dumb. Kids don't know nothing. We could just put something there. They won't even know. I mean, my kids are pretty dumb. So I just was like, look, here's Optimus Prime, and here's Schloptimus Prime. They didn't care.
Would you have killed off the My Little Pony character line to have a new character line in a movie?
Well, that was my note. Yeah. It was going to be, we were going to call it My Little Pony, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? I wrote it. Anyway, gotta go find my kids.
All right. They're probably crying because he killed off Optimus Prime.
Yes, well, yeah.
So Stan Bush's song "The Touch" is prominently featured in the film, having been originally written for Sylvester Stallone film Cobra.
You got the touch. You got the power.
Got the first one. He holds it for so long. It was also featured in Boogie Nights, being sung by Mark Wahlberg.
It gives me, because I didn't know this when I watched Boogie Nights. I thought it was just a horrible song that they made for this for this movie that these porno guys wrote. But the fact that these dumb, coked out porno guys are doing a cover of a song from the Transformers gives it even more depth.
Makes it even more brilliant.
Oh, yeah. God, I love Paul Thomas Anderson so much.
So great. A remix is featured in the 2012 video game Transformers Fall of Cybertron. It's also featured in the 2018 film Bumblebee.
You got the touch.
You got the power. God, it's just all the music is just so 80s.
So bad. Well, that's another thing. It's this cacophonous, like pseudo porno hard rock that kind of sounds like stuff, but doesn't sound good enough to be anything. So It's just this loud noise compounded with all of this and all these blow 'em ups and shoot 'em ups and these really bad voices and stuff. It's just an onslaught that makes your brain want to kill itself.
One of my favorite sound effects ever is the lasers firing. It's like that deep, like boom, boom. Yeah, it's like it just sounds so cool. But it's just a cacophony of everything. It's just a onslaught of stimulation.
Oh my God! And yeah, really, it's just. I think this movie was what prompted the disclosure of you may have an epileptic seizure.
Yeah, I mean it definitely
by
should.
watching this product.
The soundtrack also includes Instruments of Destruction by NRG, Dare by Stan Bush, Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way, and Hunger by Kick Axe.
Kick Axe!
Credited as Spectre General, so they decided not to be associated with their real band name.
Yeah, they all did pseudonyms.
Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic, which is one of the best parts of the movie.
Best part of the movie. It sounds so much like a Devo. It was just like his Devo.
We thought
tune.
it was Devo. Yeah. And a hard rock remake of the Transformers TV theme song by Lion.
More than meets the eye.
God, in that kind of credits, that song goes on for so long.
Ugh. And then it's like that freeze frame of Omicron's head, or
Omicron, yeah.
Is it? It's Omicron.
Omicron.
No. It's Unicron. Sorry, that's what I was like. Omicron. Isn't that like?
That was his young kid, his stepkid, Omicron.
Is it Omicron like a software company? Or
I
something?
think so. Yeah.
Unicron. It's just like his head.
Yeah.
Freeze frame and then
floating around Cybertron as after he's dead. I was expecting him to. Maybe he was singing. Maybe he was singing this Transformers song.
More than meets the eye.
The film was released on August 8th, 1986 to 990 screens in the United States, grossing $1,778,559 on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opened at 14th place behind About Last Night, which had already been in theaters for 5 weeks.
Yes, with Rob Lowe and Jim Belushi and Demi Moore.
Yeah.
I was in that play.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah. I played the Jim Belushi part.
Nice. Its final box office gross of $5,849,647 made it the 99th highest grossing film of 1986.
Yeah, we broke the top 100.
You know somebody was excited about that.
Shut up, Jack.
Bob, I said shut up.
Top 100.
In that year, Hasbro lost a total of $10 million on its 2 collaborations with the one-year-old and serial failing film distribution company De Laurentiis Entertainment Group. They lost money on My Little Pony the movie and then the Transformers the movie.
Yeah.
Surprise. They somehow lost $10 million on these 2 movies.
Who's going... Okay.
I know. Box office returns were booming across the industry, but several other small young distribution companies were similarly failing due to bulk production of many cheap films.
The main problem with both this and My Little Pony is that why go to the theater when you can just sit at home and watch the cartoons?
That's just it. I made the joke at the end of the movie when we were watching it. You go to your mom, you're watching it, and you're like, Mom, there's going to be a movie. There's a movie, The Transformers, and we have to go see it in the theater.
You got your Transformers at home, Adam.
But this one's in the theater.
You got your Transformers at home.
Okay.
It looks awful, by the way.
It'll be on TV eventually.
It is going to be on TV, Adam. You can just hold your horses.
Yeah. It just seems like such a bad idea. Furthermore, the Transformers was reportedly lost in an already crowded summer lineup, including
Short Circuit, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Labyrinth, Big Trouble in Little China, The Karate Kid Part 2, Aliens, Howard the Duck, Stand By Me, Flight of the Navigator, and The Fly. Wow, that was a good...
All of them are better movies than the Transformers the movie.
Yes, even the bad ones.
Even Howard the Duck, which is not a good movie, is still better than the Transformers the movie.
Yeah, Karate Kid Part 2 is not that great either.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he goes to Japan?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was fine. The third one is the one that, for me, where it fell off. The day after release, Karen James of the New York Times described the film.
While this action may captivate young children, the animation is not spectacular enough to dazzle adults, and the Transformers have few truly human elements to lure parents along, even when their voices are supplied by well-known actors.
I mean, yeah. I get it. Across the decades, the Transformers has become a cult classic. It did run, the show ran for 2 more seasons, which yielded a remastering, several home media re-releases, and more theatrical screenings. In September 2018, the film was screened for 1 night in the United States in 450, later increased by 300, totaling 750 theaters.
Yeah, it's another cult classic because kids grew up on it and loved it. We didn't even talk about Daniel Maidenhall as Daniel Witwicky.
Yeah,
and they
or
brought
the lady that played Arcee. I didn't include her. Susan Blue.
Yeah, Susan Blue. She
the
was the
only-
Smurfette of the. They always had to have one.
Only
Always had to
female
have
character.
one.
Yeah, which, funny enough, Susan Blue was actually sister-in-law to Paris Stedman, a friend of ours who played Mike TV.
Nice.
In the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Or Willy Wonka.
Willy
Not
Wonka.
Charlie,
That's right.
Willy
Yes.
Wonka,
Paris
yeah.
would be upset with you.
I know. He's a really nice guy.
He's a great guy. He's a great businessman. He's totally pivoted and made a career for himself.
Yeah,
made a bunch of careers for
yeah,
himself.
yeah.
Very successful guy.
I don't want to say that I hate this movie. I never think about this movie. I was more disappointed. Just disappointed by this.
I get it.
But now, granted, here's the other thing. When I was writing the script, I watched a lot of the first season. And really, it's pretty much in line with the TV show.
It is. I mean, look, it's a nostalgia thing. And because I was a little bit past my prime
Yeah.
for toys.
It's the Jim and Miss Prime.
Jimimus Prime. My Toya-Miss Primes. But so I didn't really watch it. I watched some of the, cartoons, High with Buddies.
Sure.
In college or whatever. But I didn't really care about the Transformers that much. But the movie, like I said, I saw it.
Yeah.
It completely just flew out of my brain. But watching it again, it is just noisy and loud and pointless.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't.
There's no character development at
No,
all.
a lot of people die. Well, except for Hot Rod. I mean, and that's just because he transforms into Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus Prime sounds like a porno. But also, it's like
not the Transformers Triple X.
And then exactly, Rodimus Prime is coming. Okay, but look, you have the stupid Dinobots, man, and it's borderline offensive the way that they're so stupid. I mean, they literally made an Of Mice and Men joke.
Yeah,
he's up there. Tell me the story. I want to hear a story. Tell me a story.
Fly the plane. I can't tell you a story right now.
Oh, tell me about the space rabbits. Tell me about the space rabbits. It's like, F you, really?
Yeah.
You're gonna look. Granted, every cartoon had some version of Lenny because dumb was funny back then, and we didn't really care about. They're too dumb to know we're making fun of them. That was the thinking back then. Back then, not now. But it was insulting, and you can see them pushing these new toys as as the new heroes or whatever. But because they don't have the backstory and the gravitas of like an Optimus Prime or the original Transformers that we've grown to love and care about over the first season, you kill them off in the first act.
Yeah,
and then you have these guys that we don't really know anything about. That just kind of show up and are there.
Wandering around, going to weird places. Apparently, except for us, there's no such thing as organic aliens. No. They're all just Transformers.
Well, there was that one alien that had the alien head
planet
that had the tentacles that was kind of a hybrid.
The head was even kind of Transformer-y.
Right, but he was kind of a hybrid of organic and mechanical.
But it was just weird that it's like, and then even the junk planet, it's like, we'll send all our junk here, and then
Junkion.
The Junkions like somehow come out of that.
And who cares? It just was like, it seems like a movie made on cocaine again. It's like, okay, all right, we're gonna have Well, everybody likes dinosaurs. What do kids love? Kids love dinosaurs. Dinobots. We're gonna have Dinobots. Okay, but the Dinobots, they're little brains, acorn-sized brains, so they're gonna be super dumb. So we have a bunch of dumb guys, comic relief. Great. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll get the guy that talks really fast. Blur. Because, he's cocaine personified. And then we'll get him. And then we'll get. And then it's just like, and then we'll get this guy to, and then we'll do this. And then we'll do that. And then it's just, but we're not going to do is make a coherent movie with any sort of plot.
No plot. I mean, there's a basic skeleton of a plot, but none of it really makes any sense.
No, because what is Unicron's motivation, by the way?
He just has to destroy everything. I mean, that's it. Like, that's his whole thing.
He enslaves...
he's like their version of Galactus from the Marvel Comics.
Sure.
Like
You're right, but
it's like he has to eat stuff to stay alive, and that means planets. Someone eat planets.
But none of the other Transformers have to eat stuff to stay alive. It's stupid.
You've already gone too deep into looking the logic of this.
It's just... I get it, but... The thing is if you're going to take something that is beloved, and this, even though it's a toy line... People love this. People love G.I. Joe.
Look, the G.I. Joe movie, which granted came out after this, so maybe Ron Friedman realized, hey, I should actually have a rising action and plot and
story.
And some gravitas to stuff, not just random. There was a point when characters died, and I was like, I had to look at the plot summary, and I was like, I turned to Jim, and I was like, wait, did they die already?
Yeah, they just killed.
Yeah. They were dead. It's like, okay.
All unceremonious except for Prime.
But you have no reason to care about any of them.
It moves too fast for you to care about anything. There's not like a down moment where everybody kind of reflects on what's going on, which is what you need in these types of movies. Just a few moments to be like,
well, we lost a lot of good
Yeah.
Autobots today.
I mean, anything that's more than just super intense crazy all the time.
Yes, just shooting and...
I mean, the only scene is where Hot Rod and Daniel Witwicky are fishing. They're sitting there fishing, and that's in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Stop fishing with your pet boy. We have things to do.
That was the best, is that it really looks like they just have a pet boy that
His pet human.
travels around.
Stop touching your pet human. We have things to do.
I think it just really made me realize, especially even this time watching it, that I just really didn't like the Transformers story. I just don't get it.
It's overly complicated. And this one, because this was basically, it wasn't a movie, it was a hour and a half product launch
Yeah.
commercial.
Well, and even more so because this movie, the first 2 seasons are set in 84 and 85.
Yeah.
Or 84, theoretically. And this movie was set in 2004. It was 20 years later.
Yeah.
So literally, even if you're watching the show, like suddenly you're just in completely different places. The Decepticons had taken over Cybertron, and it was just kind of a throwaway line of like, "Oh yeah, they're on Cybertron." It's like, okay,
Well, that's where they effed up because it should have been a continuation of what was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Even if they were going to kill everybody off and start it over again, it could still have happened in 84.
yeah. There's
You know?
no reason for it to. It was just overly complicated and
completely
just a mess.
eliminating Earth, which, that was the
Yeah.
interesting thing is watching big old robots fight on Earth.
Yeah.
And only having 2 humans, the Witwickies, and the Witwicky boy is so annoying.
So, and by the way, Daniel's dad's name is Spike, and you know what his dad's name is? He was in the very first episode of the first show. Sparkplug. Sparkplug Witwicky.
Sparkplug Witwicky. You're a little spark plug, aren't you? Yeah.
So anyway, this is not a good movie.
No.
And I mean, maybe we're wrong. Maybe if you want to email us at genxfilespodcast@gmail.com and let us know how wrong we are.
Sure.
That's fine.
Please, I would love to hear the reasons why. Look, verdict, haterade, baby.
Haterade, very much
It's
haterade.
just, and I love stuff like this. I mean, I love nostalgia. I love cartoons. We all know how much I adore animation.
Yeah.
And it's always just, and with the voice talent of Scatman Crothers and Orson Welles and Frank Welker and Leonard Nimoy and Peter Cullen and all of these people, Robert Stack, you couldn't even tell who was who because everything was
No.
happening so fast.
No.
And I couldn't tell Pup
Cup.
from Cliff Jumper from.
Well, that was
know?
I think the reason why I thought that Robert Stack was so much in it because he was the only voice I really recognized through the whole
Yeah.
thing. It was like, oh, okay. But I'll say when we first started watching it, sat down, and I was like, oh, like the animation's kind of weird. And
Colors
cool.
were cool, it's
Like, it was like,
trippy.
oh yeah, and then it just is relentless.
Yeah. It just never stops. The soundtrack is so bad. It's like a really bad softcore porno soundtrack or something.
It's like they were trying to do the Transformers version of the animated movie Heavy Metal.
Sure, yeah. It was supposed to be kick. We wanted to be kick-ass, man.
In such a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, the horrible music, everything about it is just bombastic. It's just a relentless assault on your senses. And by the time it's over, you're exhausted because you don't know what's happened. You feel weird, you need to kind of sit in quiet for a little while because, all the colors in your eyes and everything are jibber-jibber-jibber. But yeah, this isn't like Explorers where I hate that movie so much for reasons that we talked about.
Yes.
Or Highlander that you hated that movie so much for reasons that we talked about. And I see your point, and yeah, it's not a great movie. This is just something that just kind of shouldn't have existed.
Yeah, it should have just been part of the show.
Yeah.
There's no reason it needed to be a theatrical movie.
But it shouldn't have existed for the fact that it did nothing to advance the Transformers story or lore. It just was made to sell toys.
Yeah.
And so, and just like the executives and the fact that they were like, why would anybody care if a toy died?
How out of touch are you?
That's the only quote you need to know to see how bad this movie is. Who's going to care about a toy dying?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next week.
One more to go, baby. One more to go.
I'm excited to watch Clerks again. It's been a while.
Very curious, yes, because I detested this movie when I saw it. And I've watched the subsequent sequels, and they've been okay. But
I have not seen the third movie yet.
I think I'm pretty sure. I've seen all of his movies.
I think you've seen it. I think it's been on Stars. I don't think you've seen it.
When did it come out?
Last year?
Oh, then yeah, I probably haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Last year or 2 years ago.
I just remember the one with
Clerks 2 came out in like 2006.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, that was Clerks 2. Yeah.
Look,
I will say, after the episode, even if you like the movie, you're probably not going to like the movie.
no. Well, I also, and no offense to these guys, they're not really actors, but the guys that played the leads, bringing them back for sequels is just kind of mean.
Well, yeah.
Because
It's not. The funny thing is that the guy that plays Randall did not want to do any more of the movies.
I don't blame him
at all.
This is really bad. not a good actor, and I'm sorry.
I
but-
like Randall. I like the two leads. I think they're great in that movie. They just are not actors.
No, and they're not compelling, and they're not. And there's no way that guy would date Rosario Dawson. I'm sorry.
No,
There's no way
no.
she would fall for that man.
I know.
Anyway, maybe
All
she
right.
would. Who
well,
knows?
we'll find out more next week.
The hate's already starting.
Yeah.
All right.
Avoid this movie at all cost, Autobots.
The Bumblebee movie.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled program, Unsolved Mysteries, already in progress.